And here we finally are after several attempts with the things not really wanting to cooperate. So thanks for joining us on this week's BS in the NLL with myself, Blue Squatch, and Hot Rod Rodney Redeye. So you went to the Buffalo game, and that sounds like it was like one of the most amazing games. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so me and my boy Owen, we ended up going to the Buffalo game Saturday night, and I will tell you what, I am so glad we went. That game was thrilling, like start to finish. I mean, it was jam packed full of action. There was not one like some games get boring, they're just back and forth. Nope, not this game. It was hard hitting, fast paced, goal scoring. Like, I mean, both teams are scoring goals, pulling them out of their hat, diving from the back. I mean, that was a great game. It was probably one of the best games I ever watched, and I'm glad I was there to watch it live.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, as you're looking through the box scores on it, it's like it's just nuts. You see, so Buffalo actually scores the first goal, but then by the end of the first quarter, they were down 6-3, and Philly's offense has not looked, that great. And then all of a sudden, for them to go up 6-3, it's like, what in the heck?
Yeah, I mean, their offense was clicking for they were moving the ball. Philly's offense was moving the ball fast, and Blaze had a good game. We were sitting right there on the glass, and he had his first man up goal. He was ping corner on Matty Vince. It I can't. Sam Leclerc had two goals where he dove from the backside and it was just like, and it went in. And the other side was like this and went in. I mean, it was a ridiculous lacrosse. I can honestly say it was awesome. It was completely awesome.
Yeah, and McCully, he has been on a tear this year, and I see he did disappoint. He had the first goal and then the third goal for Buffalo to actually put him back in the lead, and then all of a sudden
Yeah,
looks like two penalties, and boom, the Winks kind of caught on fire with a 4 goal run.
yeah. Like I said, it wasn't. It wasn't a stagnant game at all. It was a fast. No lead was protected at all during that game. And
Yeah,
like I said, McCully was. I mean, he was just the goals he was scoring were sick and ridiculous. They weren't just like he wasn't just standing there and had time to shoot. He had to like do a move, toe drag a guy, then like dive to his left and dump it in. I think he had one goal where it was actually an overhand shot and he bounced it and bounced top left.
yeah.
That was probably his easiest goal of the night. But I mean, he went on a tear. Luckily for him, because during the process of the game, the left side of the Bandits, most of them all went down with injuries. It was basically him and a bunch of lefty defense guys coming up to help him and real run picks and stuff. I mean, for as bad as the Bandits got the injury bug in that game, and they still won it in overtime, it shows a lot that it was Dane Smith that scored the game winner. First of all, he took over. He took over in the third and fourth. He was just lights out that game. I mean, they're all lights out.
Yeah, I just put out the YouTube highlights from it, and like you said, it's just it was crazy as you're watching the highlights from this game. But I mean, Matt Vince comes up big, and Buffalo seems to keep finding a way. This is a common trend. They've been going down quite a few of these games, kind of taking the first half off, and they kind of ran into that rut again.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Matty V went. He played outstanding, and so did Zach Higgins for Philly. I mean, that's tough when your goalie plays as good as he did. That goal right there we just seen that was a cheesy goal.
Yeah,
It went in, and me and Owen had seen it. We're like, oh, that went in, and they replayed it and challenged it, and it was good. But back to Zach Higgins. I mean, he played out of his mind. He was making saves left and right. I mean, if anybody watched that game, that's a game you really want to watch. Watch goalies play their best, offenses play their best, defenses play their best, and even if the face-off, Trevor Baptiste, like he did good on his face-off, but every face-off was almost a 50-50 too. So he wasn't just dominating. I mean, the stats might say different, but I mean, he those Max Adler gave him a challenge. Like Max Adler won a few clean from him too. So it was a That
Yeah.
was a great game. Like great, like 10 out of 10. I That game was awesome.
Yeah. No, it's just as I watched the stat sheet and I was like, man, I gotta watch this game. And like you said, all the goals too, both goalies played phenomenal. It was just nonstop, like sick goal, sick goal, sick goal.
And like during the game, we were I was, for Philly. Mitch Jones, we were watching him, and he didn't. He had 2 goals. He had 6 assists too. He had 6 quiet assists,
That's
and
what
he
I
had
mean though,
eight.
is he
Yeah,
since he came from Vancouver, right?
yes, he came from Vancouver.
Yeah, and ever since he came from Vancouver, man, he has been on fire. And Resetaris kind of lit up, a little bit this game. It looked like.
Yeah, he went 3-3. He had 6 points, and there were he had some key goals at the end there where I he scored one, and they went up. Philly went up by like 3, I think, when he scored it. And it was almost that could have been a backbreaker for any other team. And the Bandits came back out and scored 2 quick ones or something like that. I don't know. It was so fast. It was hard to keep track of. You got into the moment of this game. I was just like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And the Key Bank Center was packed. The 100s, the 200s, and even the 300 was packed. I mean, it was loud. It was awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
it was easily one of the best. It was the best NL game I ever been to, and I've been to quite a few.
yeah. See that? So Resetaris just scored that last one, and now you're going to see Buffalo go off here, and that's like you said, that could have been the nail in the coffin. But Buffalo never seems to be out of the game, and their confidence, they just never, like you got McKay comes up, yeah, wow. McGill, that goal right there, our McCauley again. He has been
McCauley, yeah,
so good this year, and he hardly ever gets talked about because you've got Dane Smith. I mean, Josh Byrne at the beginning of the year, he's been hurt, but at the beginning
yeah.
of the year, he was on fire. Dane Smith is Dane Smith. But I mean, like, here's one of their defensemen right there, and he can come up, and all of a sudden, Ian McKay is just lights out, and that's where Buffalo really, I think, that's what puts them at the top of the league is everybody scores goals on this team. It seems like.
Yeah, we're like I said, our seats are almost we're behind a Buffalo bench, like 6 rows up, and to the would be to the left. Or we're looking on the floor. And this one time, Matty Vince made a save and passed it up, and the guy got Buffalo defenseman got to the door, and Ian McKay came right out of the door, and there was probably about this big of a window to pass it to him on a fast break, and the guy got it to him, and he scored that goal in the place he run. I mean, it was back and forth. I got no words for it. It was like it was ridiculously a great game.
Yeah. Yeah, and Buffalo doesn't disappoint, but I tell you, Philly has really been coming on, and you look at the way they play Buffalo, and Halifax better watch out because I could definitely see Philly coming up into that fourth spot. I mean, you kind of got Rochester, Toronto, and Buffalo taking the lead in the East, but I don't know. Philly's definitely making a strong case. Wow, look at Matty Vince with that save right there. Somehow gets
So that save right there, that was a key save in that game because that would have been a man down, I think, goal for Philly, and Matty Vince came up with a big save.
Yeah, and then this one was that they scored later ended up being the tying goal instead of the
Yeah,
go-ahead goal. And now they're in a chance for it, and that completely sets up. Wow,
another good save.
yeah,
Like the Matty Vince and Higgins, that was ridiculous the saves they were making.
yeah, that is insane. But I mean, there you see Dane right there. The guy gets his stick around him, he's hooking him, flips him backwards, and he's just
Yeah,
such a strong player. He just buries it.
yeah. Like we went nuts when he scored that. Where everybody was going like this, like it was loud. That place was rocking, and it sucks that it sucks that a team had to lose. On any other night, Philly would have won a game. Would have won that game easily. No, like easily. If they played any other team in the league, that was a game Philly would have won. That's how good they played that night.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
that the Bandits played better.
yeah. I mean, you look at it; they didn't score a goal for the first 4 minutes of the half, and then they get 6 goals. That's yeah. The Philly team, their offense really is coming. I think Mitch Jones being out there coming from Vancouver has been a huge fact, and you kind of called that when he went there. He really is, and we'll get down to look at his assist here pretty soon to see how many he ended up with. But like I said again with Buffalo, you look at their defense gets on the board. They had McKay playing up, but Weiss,
Yeah,
Priolo, that's a transition goal when those guys are getting it up the floor to him. Dane Smith to Buchanan. I mean, just Dane Smith over and over and over again. But McIntosh
yeah,
has really impressed me for Philadelphia.
yeah. Where we were sitting, so we left our seats and went up to the mezzanine parts so we could watch the whole thing. And McIntosh scored a he had a laser and it pinged top right, and me and Owen were watching it. And we seen it the whole way, and we were just like, "Oh, this is how this game is." It's the scores came to score in this game, and it showed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean the fourth quarter really is where you see it though that Buffalo did what Buffalo does. They shut him down. Matty Vince can, he's lights out when he needs to be. They were able to they got one at the end to tie it. It could have been the go ahead, but then no
Yeah,
surprise, the Great Dane in overtime.
yeah. Like I said, Matty Vince played like Matty Vince, but Zach Higgins was on that same level as him this game. Like
Yeah, 41
I,
saves.
yeah, and all 41 were top notch. There were no easy saves in this game for any of these goalies. None of these goalies just stood there and let the ball hit their chest. They're making saves, like doing splits and making cross crease saves. Like I wish I could record it and get you footage for what the saves they're doing, because it was, you don't see it on, like, if you go back and replay that game and watch it, everybody will know what I'm talking about, because that game was ridiculous. Like that rejuvenated me. Like, oh, I want to play again so bad. Like, I wish I could play right now. Like, suit me up. I'll go there and get a goal.
Yeah,
That's how it was. It was.
as the sensei likes to say, it was a good batch of medicine. Everybody gets happy watching it. But I mean, look at McCully. 10 shots, 4 goals, 4 assists. He is very
Yeah,
quietly making his way as to one of the new top players in the NLL. Eh,
yeah. And every time he scored, that place erupted. They wanted him to score.
Yeah, they love that guy. He's their new guy. They got him in. He took that number 10 Connor Fields wore last year, and he
Yeah.
has been wow. Yeah, he's been lights out. He's so aggressive down there too. He gets up the rebounds. I mean, that's the other thing is the offensive rebounds that you get when you have a guy like that who's just constantly willing to dig and fight for the ball. Yeah,
Hmm.
he's been awesome.
Yeah. I can't stress enough how good that game was.
Yeah, Matty Vince, 40 saves. You know, he continues, and the nice thing about Matty Vince is he always seems to make the saves at the right time. He'll have 40 saves, but all of his saves will be, at key moments. It seems
Yeah,
like you're
exactly.
talking
He
that they're a man down, the guy gets a break, and somehow he gets the glove on it after you think he's
boom
beat.
saves it. Yep. That should have been a goal.
Yeah,
Nine times out of 10, that's a goal on anybody. I mean, but he made that save when he had to, and when he made that, like that that Philly player got that fast break, and you could hear the gas and the whole arena, like, oh no. He made that save once again. The place went nuts. I mean, it was electric. That game was electric. That's all I gotta say. I can't say anything more about that game.
yeah. I mean, and
Like I
if
said,
you look at what Dane Smith is shooting. So if he had taken 15 shots, he didn't. He took 13, but with the 5 goals, he's over 30%. So he's closer to 35%. I mean, with the 5 assists too, though, is he is such yeah, the way he operates, it's almost unfair. And like you said, Tahoka got hurt, so he wasn't playing, and the rest of the other lefties, and it just they spread out the offense. They get a couple goals. Buchanan gets up the floor, gets one that they still manage to get those transition goals.
yeah, like I said, their whole left side was gone. It was funny watching all those defensive lefties run up there, and they were just setting picks basically. Like McCully was their last option on the left side, and I mean, he was doing good before the rest of the lefties got hurt. But I mean, it was just, I think they lost one, two, three. I think they lost four guys, four lefties in the game. So I mean, there's four guys you lost off your bench, so you got a shortened bench now, and he still comes through winning overtime against nobody got hurt on Philly.
Yeah.
So it was,
Not only did nobody get hurt on Philly, you're starting to see their stars kind of coming together. And I mean, we talk about them having a good game, and when you look at it, still Vince gives up 12 goals to that offense. That is pretty impressive. That is a it's a highly talented offense, but most of they get volume shooters.
yeah, their offense was clicking that game. There's no doubt about it. They were working their tails off, getting good shots. Like they were getting good shots, and Matty Vince is making better saves. But like I said earlier, any if they that game if they played any other team in the NLL, they would have smoked them.
Yeah.
It was just that they went against Bandits that night that dug deep and won that game.
Yeah.
They didn't want to lose. So I mean, but yeah, I mean they're like Rambo. He could have done better. He was just out there. It looked like he had a couple of shots.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that's the thing is that's why I was going to ask you what happened there because you see he took 3 shots, but I mean he usually, he's a big physical
Yeah,
guy driving in, and that's a huge thing down the stretch is that's when Rambo seems to to be able to step it up, and I mean even Blaze only taking 6 shots. That's not as many for him. So you kind of wonder Mitch Jones does take a lot more shots, but I tell you that Ben McIntosh, I've been a big fan of watching that guy grow.
yeah. He was out there. He was being a floor general out there. Like he would get the ball and wait for the lefties to get open, and he was finding the players. And he had his goals. I mean, he had some key goals that
Yeah.
he scored when he scored. His goals were key momentum goals for Philly, where they would kind of take over a little bit, but then Buffalo would just come right back and score their key goals too. Like I said, it was this chess match was top of the line, boom, boom, boom. I mean, it was awesome. I
Yeah.
can't stress enough how great it was to be there to watch them win, but more or less watch those professional lacrosse athletes go out there and perform at their highest level, and it was awesome. I
Yeah.
just can't
No,
say
I
it
mean just
was
when you
awesome.
when you look at the stats too, I mean you see Resetaris had a hat trick, Dane Smith though 5 goals, nobody can compete with him. And you look at so they gave
Yeah,
Kyle Buchanan the assist lead even though he tied with Buffalo, or not with Buffalo, with Dane Smith. They both had 5 assists. But
yeah.
you can't give Dane all the props. Like I said, Mitch Jones, I think a huge fan of watching him play. I love the style he plays with. He's one of my new favorite players to watch. He's a lot of fun out there.
And Mitch Jones fits right in with that Philly offense. Like you would think he's been playing there for 10 years. He knows where everybody is.
He really
He
was the gel that kind of brought that Philly offense together. I
yeah,
mean, they were not playing well together at all until he showed up.
no. It gives he gives Philly another goal scorer, but another assist man because he can pass the ball very well, and he was that night too. I mean, and it shows on the stats. He's doing good. Crafty Beach.
Yeah.
I love that. But no, I mean, he was out there, and he's a big dude. He's not small. He's a very big guy, and he he was out there threatening traffic and kind of having his way. I mean, he had a lot of how many I can't remember how many shots he had. I mean, you probably could pull it up, but he had some good quality shots where they probably would have went in on the other goalie, and Matty Vince just made great saves on him too. I mean, like I can't stress enough how much Higgins and Vince played outstanding. They say the goalie stood on top of their head. They were standing on. I couldn't. There's no words for how good they were playing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is huge. Yeah, like I said, that game was amazing, and actually there was a bunch of good games. So I mean, even like the New York Halifax game, I tell you, New York has really been coming on lately. I mean, you look at it's tough playing in the East, and you know, they're susceptible to it, and now it kind of seems like you got New York making a run at it, but Halifax is able to beat them. Philly might be able to, topple Halifax, but right now in the standings they're one behind them. But what is going on with Colorado out west?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, they play one good game, then as soon as they play one good game, they have three bad ones.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, that game was kind of I don't know. I watched it and I was just like, this ain't the same Colorado team that was played last weekend.
Yeah, it has not been good. I mean, in Panther City, now we see they are quietly, making their way up in the West, but Saskatchewan, how about that? They 16-11 against San Diego. I mean, wow, what a statement Saskatchewan makes. I think Saskatchewan's biggest problem though is consistency.
Yeah, I mean, Saskatchewan came out like we've been talking about this all year with Saskatchewan. They looked good at one point, and they looked just like lost. But with that against San Diego, they were on point the whole game. And San Diego, I think, I don't know, almost to me during that game, like Dane Dovey wanted the ball too much and wanted to be the hero every shift out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, you got Audie Stotts, you got Dixon, you got Berg. I mean, Crowley. It was like, give them the ball, let them get their goals too. I mean, I know Dane's a great player, Dane Dovey. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, sometimes it's better not to be greedy.
No, that is a problem that they run into with when you have these, high shoot high shooting guys. You get a lot of these shooters that need, they're volume shooters. That's the word I was looking for. You get a lot of
Yeah,
these volume shooters, and they don't always mix well with others. If you got, depends on what you got going in.
it's like with I know Austin Stotts. I know him. I coach him a little bit here and there, and he's the same. He wants the ball. He loves to shoot. He wants that ball. He's so energetic. And it can, if you don't get the ball enough, it will bring you down a little bit. And like I said, there sometimes having too much talent is a bad thing on a team, and they could almost bite them in the butt right now.
Yeah. No, it definitely can, but I mean, they started good, and it's been ever since Calgary kind of came on in the second half, and it hasn't been quite the same. I don't know. Their offensive firepower, they seem a little hit or miss. They're not quite sinking like they were at the beginning of the year. But I mean, when you have a guy like Dane Doby, that kind of happens. But like you said, when these guys take so many shots, I think the most underrated thing though of this game really is Saskatchewan. The way their defense, when you look at their goals allowed for the year and Bouquet, they they are really shutting teams down. Even though like they haven't, their offense has been quiet in a few games, and it's been a
Yeah,
little uh if Church isn't having a great night, maybe they don't get on the board. Matthews is they're streaky at best is what I guess I'd like to say. But it's really been a very interesting, I don't know, combination in Bouquet, like 36 saves, but the way that Saskatchewan team plays and Bouquet plays, it's a great combination, and I think they are built for the long run. Though I mean, they always say defense wins championships. I mean, Calgary's going to be a tough team coming out of the West, but Saskatchewan, I think this is their welcome back year if they can continue to get a little more consistent, pull it together.
well, yeah, and their defense showed up at versus San Diego. Like Bouquet, like he's been in the league for years. We talked about this, and he's finally matured where he's a star goaltender now. Yeah, he let every goalie lets in some easy goals. That's a given.
Yeah.
But the way they played against the Seals, they were clicking on all cylinders. It wasn't all eight cylinders, maybe six, but they were still they're working on it, and that's the best thing for them because it's you're in the second half of the season now, getting towards playoffs and that final push. This is where you need to start gelling, and that's what they're doing. Where the Seals, they were on fire the first half of the season, and now they're starting to like their defense, their goalie play is questionable. The Seals, they don't have an answer for their goalies right now for some reason,
Well,
and their defense is it's mediocre at best.
yeah, and that's what I mean is they're not even in the same like ballpark as some of these teams with their goalie, and
No,
that is such a huge thing. And they've had a lot of struggles there. They started moving, they pull them in, they've switched their goalies, and that's tough too because then you start to get into their head, and you get some of these guys that really they don't handle it well, and they've you've seen that they've struggled with it. But I mean, Saskatchewan, they started each one of these quarters like charging. Like they really
charging,
came
yes,
out organized, and it was just boom. And then they kind of put they never really let off. Like San Diego, at the end of the third quarter, you're looking at it, you're like, it's a 3-goal game. Okay. and then
Yeah.
boom, they get into 3 goal game again. But then Church and just Mike Messenger is such an emotional part of that team, but he can take that the wrong way and do some knucklehead things from time to time. But when he is on point and playing, good,
The
he
whole
is a
team is.
right because he is such a if he's one of those guys, if he's on your team, you love him. If he plays against you, you hate him. He's just like
Yep.
a nuisance. He's always doing that little extra. He gets the offense not, cohesive and he just creates issues.
Well, like you said, when Mike Messenger starts going and it starts playing his game like he should, the team follows and he makes the team better because of his. I'm going to say his actions on the floor, but his, like you said, a nuisance on the floor. He pumps the team, sees it. They're like, hey, let's get going, and that's what happened with San Diego. I don't know. San Diego needs to figure something out. Saskatchewan's figuring it out finally. Um, it's the second half of the NLL is going to be crazy in the West.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be nuts. I can't wait. The West is definitely a much tougher conference, I think, this year. The East,
Oh, very much so.
the top of the East is great, but the bottom of it has not looked great. We're going to get into that in a little bit because you've
Hmm.
got Georgia and Albany basically battling for who's going to be the bottom of the East, I think. And I actually think Georgia's probably going to win this week. I don't know. I think it'll be hard to push them down. But I mean, this is the big thing when you look at the Rush. Like they got the transition goals when their offenses they're spread out, they're playing great. It's they the biggest problem I think that the Seals run into is sometimes they just like to stand and they like to watch Church play and they watch Mark Matthews and they're just like, oh, let's watch him shoot 100 shots. But
Well, I will say Mark Matthew he had a nasty shot in that game. He was up top and he just pinged that top left corner.
yeah,
I haven't seen him shoot like that in like 4 or 5 years.
and
And he looked like he was like 23 again, and he let that thing fly, and I thought he ripped the net. I mean, I was like, when I seen him do that, I was like, oh, this game's over. I was like, he came to play, and everybody, like his whole team was like, he just did that again, like because he hasn't been shooting that good, Mark Matthews, but that shot, I mean, that was I seen that, and I was just like, I was like, oh, damn,
yeah, look at this. This Jake Boudreau shot 100%.
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, he shot 100%. Mark Matthews was shooting almost 50%. Dan Littner, again, almost 50%. Like you
Letting
see, yeah, these guys are just what they were all, the sticks were on fire. They were sharing the ball well. It was, yeah. And when you don't see Robert Church taking 15 shots, because that's kind of what happens is they just watch those guys and they didn't have just one guy. I mean, you look at it and they spread the ball out really well. I mean, I think the underrated thing with Saskatchewan right now though is Alex Bouquet, who he does have his moments where you're like, oh man, can he be that
yeah,
goalie to take us to the next level? And that's kind of like the Warren Hill thing too. Is they're good goalies, but they have to. If you want to make the playoffs, you have to be a great goalie. You have to get that, 40 saves a game.
yeah, you got to be a great goalie and consistent every night, day in and day out. Made those easy saves. I mean, that's why you're a pro. That's why you're getting paid to go make those saves. You can't let those easy, 40-yard shots go in on you. You should save those. But I mean, like I said, Alex Bouquet, I think he found his home. He's gelling in great with them. The defense are protecting him is a huge thing because if you don't have a good goalie or you don't like your goalie, your defense is like whatever. But they're not like that. They're out there playing their ass for him. So I mean, they're going to be a scary team here in the next few weeks,
Yeah.
and come playoff times.
Oh yeah. But yeah, as you see, they split the game with Shigliano and
Hmm.
Origlieri. They also have
Yeah,
the two hardest goalies' names to pronounce. But um, yeah, I don't know. Shigliano, he was playing really good, and then as you see, 6
yeah.
goals, 9 saves. That's yeah. It's
And ain't the first time this year he's been pulled.
no, no. It's been a
No,
struggle all
yeah,
year, and unless they can answer the goalie, I think that basically is answering what's going to happen to San Diego because you're not gonna make it deep into the playoffs without a goalie.
No, if you're pulling goalies every other game, you're not going to go far. I mean, your goalie is the backbone of any team. You play off your goalie, and right now they're not. They don't have a goalie to play off of. They're questionable in the defense end. They depend too much on their offense, and when they do, this happens. You
Yeah.
get one guy trying to shine too much, and you got four other superstars that want the ball and ain't shining. So, like I said, I mean, having there is a thing is having too many superstars on your team, and the Seals might have too many.
Yeah, could be, but like I said, I think their biggest issue right now is just their goalie. They need to find
Yeah.
somebody, somebody else. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to watch Paul's clip real quick, and then we'll be right back. Thanks everybody for watching. Hello out there, and thank you so much for joining us. Uh, Paul was with us, and then all of a
Hello,
sudden,
Yeti Nation. Yeti Nation, how you doing, Yeti Nation? Trying to get my ear pods, buds, whatever the heck they are, squared away, but it didn't happen. So we're working technical difficulties.
we're rolling with what we got. It's what we're good at. I can tell you.
That's what we're doing.
Absolutely. So we had a chance to go watch the Albany Firewolves take on the Vegas Desert Dogs, and wow, that was a game.
That was an awesome time. That was actually an awesome time. The action was there. The fans. It was a pretty good crowd.
All right, so the right now everybody should be able to watch the replays underneath the two of us as we're sitting here talking. But
Yeah.
so I mean, one thing I really saw was Ethan Walker. He might not have gotten that first goal, but he got the rebound, and what a game that man had. I mean, he was all over the floor. The stats might not necessarily reflect it with all the goals that he had, but in points, and he had a good night. But wow, is he a workhorse?
Yeah, ground balls that get you there. That's ground balls equal possessions equal shots on net equal goals, goals equal victories.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
sums it up right there. And what a game it was. I mean, possession though. I mean, so at first Albany comes out, they get flying up the board, and I was like, okay. And then Vegas comes back with two. And Tanner Thompson, this kid had a phenomenal game. He's a relatively new
dude,
fielder.
Beecher, the beating that kid took. I don't know if you was seeing what I was watching, but I was watching the inner side there. Holy snot! That kid took a pounding on the inside. He gave it back out, but the intense picks, some great picks throughout the entire game on both teams. That's what led to so many. I mean, cutting down through the middle. A Greer for Vegas, a couple times coming through the middle. He just ran through the middle. He's the size of these guys. They're huge. I'm six. I used to be 6'3", but I'm 6'3", and these guys are all of that and some. And it's like, man, huge, big
Yeah,
boys.
it's insane. Like you said, the size of these guys is really something else. I mean, and you watch the hustle, like you said, they're setting the picks. But what I really noticed more than anything is the rebound. See, like right there, he gets his own rebound, and that's where you see it. Is when you get these offensive guys on the floor for multiple possessions, that's where you're really gonna see it. You can't give
That one right there.
they're
Yeah,
pros. There's Reinhold
yeah,
right there.
yeah. That one was a huge goal. Put him up. As far as the we got talking Kells, is that how you say it?
Kells, yeah, Landon Kells.
Kells. In regards to, he had those early saves right in front of us. He had some kick saves, bang, 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 bang. And then a couple that we thought that as far as Dougie, there was, man, he was there, but they got in, and it was back and forth. All of a sudden, Dougie made a couple big saves, and Kells let some questionable shots through, but they are all basically inside. These guys had their outside eyes on the ball.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah. I mean,
lot of inside goals.
there's probably a couple that Dougie wants back, and I'm sure Kels will feel the same way. But like right here, you see the way they work the ball around. It's so fat that like half of where he steps and then he fakes back to the other side. That's all it takes to get the goalie to come out. And like Greer and these guys make it look so easy.
Well, Greer had a hat trick in the first half. I mean, he cut through the middle like I don't know. Those boys are big for Vegas. That's, you got four. They were heavy lefty, and as far as they used their left sides, to a large extent.
Yeah. Yeah, and what you see, so we've actually got Josh in the comments. I'm not sure you remember Josh. He was sitting down in the party zone in front of us. He
Okay, yeah, the big guy.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. What's
he
up,
was
Josh?
he's in the comments. He completely agrees. Walker is very underrated, and yeah, he'd be great to keep around because he really is. I mean, just what he's learned as a field player, and to watch him come around in the box, and he's got that it factor. He's just a tenacious, like gonna get the ball. You'll see, I've got a couple replays of him actually getting it, and even though he, like I said, might not have had the most points for the game, he just was
Look at this
so.
one.
Oh,
What
this
a
is
great shot!
yeah.
That's no question the goal of the game right there. That
Yeah,
was sick.
and
Sick.
that Firth is his name, and wow, that guy. So he had another goal later too, but that was one of those guys like I didn't know his name before the game, but by the time it was over, I knew who he was.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
All right, thanks for watching. Now we were talking during the break, and I just realized Christian Del Bianco has more assists than Tehoka Nanticoke does this year. I think.
Well,
Yes,
Tohoko's a scorer.
he is, but so Tehoka's got 15 assists, I think. I think it's this one. Yeah. So Tahoka's
Yep.
got 15 assists, and but here's the best part. So they rank Tahoka as 52 because that's what I'm looking at. So he's 52. They don't really count goalie assist. It's so weird.
And they should.
I don't know why they don't. It's such a yeah, because he gives. I think they've donated like $8,000 to that charity that he's a part of up in Calgary because of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, because of his all assists. Yeah, I mean, like we said, Calgary, Del Bianco, the way they run their breakout when he makes a save, one guy's already gone to the bench, so he's got that look, and then one guy is already up the floor on the opposite side, so he has two options. And for some reason, he always got that first option for the guy coming out the bench because they change so fast, and that's their bread and butter, really. I mean, that's the first thing he does. He looks right up the floor. He doesn't even look at the guys next to him. He looks right up the floor,
Yeah, in
and
between
even yeah, and
Courier and
even if the
Simpson.
guys yeah,
Yeah.
and even the guys like kind of guarded, he'll still bomb it up there for him.
Oh yeah,
I mean, what's
he hits
yeah,
tight
he hits
windows.
him. Yeah,
Yeah, like it's
and
nothing.
he's
He is so good at it. Yeah, he
pinpoint accuracy with that stick.
yeah, the way he throws that pass down there, like I said, I just can't believe that I had to take a screenshot of it. I'm gonna have to send it to Owen when we get off the call here because that blew my mind that he had more assists than Tahoka. And Tahoka's ranked 50th in the league, so by rights, Del Bianco should almost be in the top 50, I would bet. And they
Oh
don't break it
yeah,
down any further than that. Yeah, so he's in the top 50 for assists as a goalie. Yeah, it's crazy. But this was a
yeah,
game that's huge implications for the bottom of the East. And now here's the thing: like you see, Halifax had 53 shots. Orleman, I think, is underrated. He has his games where he doesn't quite play great, but Orleman is one of those goalies. Like if you put Orleman on San Diego, that team is going to be tough to beat.
yeah, exactly. Like Orleman is doing very well. I mean, he had 36 saves. Warren Hill only had 29, which is kind of odd. I mean, you don't see that he was under 30 saves, but Orleman had 36 saves, and they only lost to New York. Only lost to Halifax by one.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that should have been I don't know. New York got off like 15 more shots. That was their game to win.
Well, and
Uh,
especially when you look at it too, though. I mean, coming out of the first
yeah,
quarter, New York was up, and you were like, "What's going on?" And then Halifax came up, and you know, Cody Jameson gets on the board early, but then you got Stotts boost. They get those runs going, and Halifax has so much offense. They're so talented. They can score. Everybody on. Banesh has been a goal scorer for years. Stotts has been playing very good this year. Peterson and Pearson have both. Yeah, I don't know. Cody Jamieson and the rest of that offense up there, they get their goals, but I think Halifax usually what they're known for is their defense. And when you see that Warren Hill only had to face 29 or had 29 saves, that is the
Yeah,
thing is Halifax does have a great defense and they've got the firepower, but it's always questionable which Warren Hill you're getting.
yeah. I mean, this year he's been 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had
It's
to pull him a
it's
couple games too, and it's a
yeah,
shame because when he's on, and he's one of those guys like you can see him when he's out there and he's smiling and he's having fun, and then he gets it, beat down into his head. But I mean, New York's got a lot of bright spots. Obviously, they've got Jeff Teat, who is Jeff Teat, 6 goals, he's playing great.
yeah.
But I tell you, that Sundown kid, I love watching him play.
Oh, Larson had a good goal from behind where he got laid out
Yeah,
by Hasek,
yeah,
and it showed a man amongst boys when Hasek hit him, but he still scored. And I mean, that hurt him probably. Larson getting hit by the sideboard. I mean, who wouldn't get hurt? But
Hasek is such a beast.
it's unfair, really. But I mean, he made Larson spin around in the air. But
Yeah.
Larson scored, and Larson didn't care. He scored and jumped up. He's like, "Yeah, I mean, they I don't know what New York's missing. They're missing one thing, it seems like, because
Well,
they got the firepower.
they do, but the problem is like Jeff Teat takes almost 20 shots. He's got 18
Yeah,
shots, and yes, he's scoring 1 out of 3, so you don't mind that number really so much. But as you look through the rest of it, you need somebody else to be that guy that they can count on, and I think Larson Sundown could be that guy. I mean, he only took 2 shots. He just needs, some more time in the league, and he will be that guy. Riley O'Connor is playing pretty good, but sometimes he's inconsistent. He played for Albany last year, and he doesn't like to be that guy that takes charge out there. Is what it seems, and you kind of need him to step up and be that guy with some of these younger guys, and kind of lead them that way. But I mean, there's a lot of bright spots for as bad as New York started the season.
yeah, they're like I said, they're right on that cusp. Like I said, like with Jeff or with T, um, he's getting like he's not taking bad shots. He's beating like he smoked Tyson Bell 1-on-1. I'm like, okay, I mean Tyson Bell's a great defenseman, and he beat him and got the shot off and scored a goal, but he called him in the crease.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got Dan Lomas. He needs to step up. You got Tyler Digby. I mean, it's they're I don't know. It seems like they need a. I mean, got rid of Colin Crawford. He went to Panther City. I mean, maybe he should have kept him. Maybe I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I don't know.
that
They
I
they
don't know.
they just need a couple guys to like I said, I think that Riley O'Connor can, and he had 2 goals, took 5 shots, so he's shooting great, 40%, but they need somebody to step up and lead that team a little more. But I
They need
mean,
one more superstar.
yeah. And not even the superstar. The problem is once you see you've got a lot of guys with 1 goal, 1 goal, 1 goal, 1 goal, 1 goal, one
Yeah,
goal, 1 goal. You just need somebody to get that 2 or 3 extra, not even a hat trick a night, but if you can count on that guy to get 2 goals, consistently every night, or, that whoever the other player is going to be, but you can't just have Jeff T and then the Thunderbirds though, like we talked about, Hasek, they're they have got so much firepower. Their defense, like you said, is one of the best ones. I mean, when you talk about Tyson Bell, Tarafinko, you've got so many great players. Like, I really think Jake Withers is a super underrated defenseman. Yes, he's a great face-off guy. He can get up the floor and get some goals. But when you watch him, he is one of those hard-nosed. He is tough. He is a tough out for anybody.
yes, he's your bulldog on defense.
Yeah. Yeah, he absolutely, and
That's what
that's
he
what
is.
Halifax is though, is it's made up of guys like that. Like him,
Yeah,
Tyson Bell, they get in your head, Graham Hossack, they are a tough team. They get you frustrated. And can you be big enough and strong enough to take the abuse and keep going? I mean, and Cody Jamieson has looked really well this year. He had a great game. He's looking young. He's been I've been pretty impressed with how Cody's been playing this year.
he's been playing. How do I want to say this? Um, sorry, I'm getting a blank in my head. He's playing like I'm thinking of a very a word that I shouldn't try to
Something
be
too
saying.
convoluted. I mean,
Yeah,
I've heard you say this year he looks younger. He's faster out
he
there.
looks younger, but the game seems slower to him, where he's thinking more and making the right choices now. Where before he was just running gun almost kind of. He's more of a well, he's definitely more of a leader, but he's more cohesive about the game, I would say,
Yeah.
and he knows what he's doing out there now. Finally, not finally, he always has been, but like this year,
It
he took the
seems to be
game a
more.
little bit more.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
seems to be a little more in sync with it. Yeah, he's I love watching this Halifax team. I think they are one of the most entertaining teams. Them, Buffalo, they play so emotional. Calgary plays like that. There's so many good teams in this league. It's so hard to try to pick which games you want to watch because I don't miss very many of the Halifax games. Tyson Bell and Graham Hossack and the way that whole defense plays, like Tarafinko, watching him come into the league last year,
yeah,
and
Tarasenko's great.
how much better he's gotten. Like he is a loose ball machine. And like I said, Jake Withers though, the way he's a face-off guy, but he's so underrated as a defenseman, and the way he gets up the floor to help with your transition. He's got the stick skills. I don't know. I think it really comes down to how Warren Hill's playing. I mean, we always seem to come back to this. I do anyways. The goalie play, you
No,
need
it is.
you need the defense, you need the goalies if you want to make it through. That's without that, it's like what are you doing?
Like I said, like you just said, it is goalie play. You can have the best offense, best defense, but if your goalie's letting in beach balls, I mean, it means nothing.
Yeah,
Absolutely, and like with Warren Hill, he he's iffy every weekend. Like he's going to start no matter what, but it's almost like a matter of time. It's like, are we going to pull him soon or what? Because you don't know what you're getting during a game with him,
yeah. So Panther
and
City
that's kind of odd.
pulled up 1-0 over Colorado already. They're the West Coast
Oh,
games.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. They started a little late. I usually don't get to finish them, but it says 13 left in the first quarter. Panther City pulled ahead. I don't know. I think if Colorado doesn't figure it out, Dylan Ward doesn't start playing like Dylan Ward does, and they don't start getting Zed Williams and the rest of those guys on the board. They've had a rough go. Eli McLaughlin's playing good for them, but other than Eli, their offense has not been great.
Yeah, with Colorado, it seems like they're using their whole. They're just lefty side is what it's all about for some reason. I don't know why, because I mean, you got one of the best players in the world, Zed Williams, as a righty who beats
Yeah,
the kid's so big and strong and fast, and it's got a shot. Like, give it to him, let him go one on one, and whenever he doubles him, pass it back over to the lefties and let them get the wide open shots. But it seems like they're forcing it to the lefty side a lot more than they should be. That's just how I see it. I don't know if that's true or not, but
yeah, they do
I
seem
mean,
to be stuck on that side of the floor,
yeah,
which is weird. And then when you look at this West, how it's going to break down, I mean, Panther City's playing them now. That'll give them a two-game lead over if they're able to. And Vegas this week is playing Calgary, and I think
Calgary.
that game, I'm definitely not going to be able to make it till the game's over. I might catch the start of it when we get off here, but yeah, there's no way I'll make it. It's way past my bedtime. But I think tomorrow when I watch it, that is going to be a good game. The way I don't know Vegas. I love the way their team plays. I love watching the Malcolm brothers. I love watching Bertrand with Paul. That was just so cool to see, and the whole Bertrand family was there, so that was awesome. 315er. Eric
Yeah,
Turner,
three
I
and
know,
five.
plays for the Bats, so
Yeah,
that's I always try to cheer for those guys. And that whole
and Zach,
Vegas,
how about Zach Greer?
yeah, he is.
He went off last weekend.
Oh my goodness, he has been
And he
playing.
had
Yeah,
some nice goals.
yeah. Him. I tell you, I made so I. There's a bunch of guys that I've liked that I've watched on that team before, but like that Firth is his name. That kid picked up a new
Colin
fan.
Firth, yeah,
Yeah, he is.
yeah,
When he
he's
scored
good.
that goal, I played the clip on Paul's, and then so I've got him going at it, and then the rewind and going back at it. Man, that
Yeah,
was cool. Yeah, and I don't know.
no, they're Las Vegas is doing what Panther City did last year. They're coming down strong towards the end of the year. So next year, like Panther City's doing good this year, I think that's how Las Vegas is going to do next year.
Yeah, I definitely see
Um,
him progressing. I'm just hoping Albany's offense can step up next year, and we got some young guys. It's getting better. I got some confidence that we're gonna
well, in that Albany game, they were moving the ball a lot better that game.
Yes.
They weren't standing around. They were doing plays. Like when I was watching it, a lot of their plays they would pass it to lefties, and then the righties would go down and set a double pick, and the guy would come off, and he was open passing, and they get a goal. So they weren't stagnant like they have been the last few weeks. So I mean,
Yeah, a
somebody
lot
put a
more
little
movement.
fire in their ass. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot more movement for Albany.
yeah, I think Glenn Clark. I actually had a chance to talk to him after the game for a couple minutes, and then he said that he's like the offense is really starting to, he was disappointed, but it was a good game. They saw a lot of what they wanted to see. He can't win them all, obviously, but
Yeah.
it was definitely a way better showing than the a couple weeks before. Yeah, they're getting there. But we'll get on to New York Rochester. I don't know. I think Rochester's just got too much firepower. I see Rochester taking taking this one against New York, kind of
But the thing
solidifying
is,
the
look at
top.
what New York did to Halifax last weekend.
That's true. And I tell you what,
You,
so one thing New York can do too is they can get under your skin. And what you saw against Rochester is if you can get under Hartley's skin and you can kind of get under some of their guys, you can get them fired up, and that could be a big deal.
yeah. So that New York Rochester game, I think, might be the if New York comes to play and Rochester comes to play. I think that might be a 2-goal game. It's going to be Rochester because I don't
New
like
York's
we
had a
said
lot
earlier.
of them. The problem is they just need
Yeah,
somebody besides Jeff Teat to score. That's what I mean is New
yep,
York has been way closer. So like when you look at the East too, so Philadelphia, their first, they basically started 0-5. They did not start well at all, and now they've kind of come on. Albany did the
yeah,
opposite. They came out on fire and then forgot what they were doing for a few games. Now we're starting to get it back. New York
yeah.
has been in so many close games. Same with Georgia. Like when you look at their 0-7, but I mean they've taken Buffalo to how many? I mean they were 1-goal game to Buffalo. They were a 1-goal game with Toronto. It's not
Yep.
like Georgia's out of it. And I honestly, I think as much as I don't want to say it, I won't be surprised if this is where Georgia finally gets their win this week against Albany. I think I don't know. Albany. It all depends
But
on how they do with the goalie though, because if Dougie plays like Dougie can play, or if Getty gets in there and Getty plays like he did the first week when Dougie was sick, then you're
they'll
not going to
win.
beat Albany, right? There's not a chance that
Yeah,
Georgia's going to beat them because other
exactly.
than Lyle, and I tell you, I love watching that Shane Jackson now. He is he's a pit bull out there. He is digging in for the picks. He's digging in for the loose balls. He is an absolute pit bull out there, and he is so much fun to watch. That 32 for Georgia has got a fan in me now. I tell you.
Yeah, but he's not playing like he did when he won the MVP that 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
No, no, and he did
He's
not
under
play
he's
as
way under the
well.
radar.
So in the
No.
first week against Toronto, he played way better, and so did the rest of their team. But again, it
Yeah.
came down to defense and goalie. They put in. So you've got Dobson, who you want to be the future. You're not going to
Yep.
replace Mike Poulin right away. It's
No.
nobody's going to get that lucky. He
Or
was,
ever.
yeah, no. I mean, if they get lucky, they'll get somebody that's somewhat close to Poulin at some point. And
Yep.
really, so you got to decide: are you going to try to keep Dobson in and groom him, or are you going to start with Wendy? But that's if you want to beat Albany, you've got to beat them with a better goalie because their offense now we're starting to see they're getting on the board. Georgia's defense is not that good. Albany's offense is better than that, I think, and especially
Yeah,
with the
Albany's
goalie
offense way
play.
better.
I see if this game, I don't know, Albany, I can see them getting 12 goals, but if Albany can't break 10, then Georgia's going to win. But I don't see this game going above 15 for either team.
No, and that's the thing is like Albany, they got the firepower to beat Wendy or Dobson in the net, and they just got to put it together again. That's all they need to do. Uh, Albany's going to win this game. I hate to say it because I got so many friends out of Georgia, like close friends too. Like I know them.
Yeah,
But just Georgia is. I hate to say it. I don't know. I can't even say they're rebuilding because they got Andrew Q now. Um, they're just not there this year for some reason. They're just I don't know. It's like they're just out there to play lacrosse and get a paycheck. You know, like yeah, whatever.
yeah.
Where Albany still has that little bit of they got that spark in them still. They can still make the playoffs, whatnot. And it don't help with like Wendy's never been a full time starter in NLL. He's always been a backup. Then you got Dobson as a rookie. And I actually think that Albany Fireball's offense could pick both those goalies apart, and I think that's what's going to happen. So,
That is one thing is Albany has a bunch of great outside shooters. What Albany struggles with
yes,
is getting that guy down in the crease, and they're starting to get there. I really think that
yeah,
Ethan Walker is going to be that guy for them in the future. Heine Thompson can be, but like last week, he just had a bad week, man. He did not have a good handle on it, and he bobbled it a couple times, missed it in traffic, and that's what they needed is like him to just kind of step up and be the player he can be. But didn't happen last week. And now we've got Vancouver playing Saskatchewan. And obviously, Saskatchewan, if they play like they can beat them. But I tell you, this Vancouver team, and even their game against Calgary, Vancouver is getting better. What Sean Evans has done up in Vancouver, I am impressed with.
yeah. So you lose Mitch Jones, get Sean Evans, and those both players go to the teams that they got
They,
traded to and elevate their players. And it like in the beginning of when we start doing this in the beginning of the year, the season, we were laughing at Vancouver, like ha
yeah,
ha ha, whatever.
yeah.
Now that Sean Evans got there and lost Mitch, Keegan Ball's been stepping up. Sean Evans has been stepping up. I mean, the whole
Chase
team's stepping
Scanlon's
up.
gotten a couple goals. They're playing better. Their
Yeah,
defense is.
now he's starting to Chase is starting to get goals now. He's getting looks. I mean, they're getting. Then now they got Aaron Bold as their goalie.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah.
it's
Bold played good. Charlin Beatties has been on fire.
he had a great game
Yeah.
last weekend.
Yeah, Owen struggled a little
The-
bit with the pronunciation of his name, but it was yeah, Charlin Beatty's played great. He's one of those
yeah,
players. He's a lot of fun to watch. Ball's been playing great, but like I said, I think Sean Evans has been the difference. Kind of he stepped out
yeah,
down there, and it's not even so much what he his contribution as far as points, but just the leadership he brings, that
yeah.
emotion, that play for pride. You're out there. You see Sean Evans playing, he's out there. You know,
He's
he's
going 110%, and he wants to win. And if you watch some of the games when he's running back to the bench, he's pointing at the bench, yelling at guys like, "Come on, come on!" And he's that spark you needed, and it's
yeah.
showing. I mean, they're not winning games, but they're not blowouts anymore.
No, they're not blowouts. They're playing with pride. And
No,
like I said, my favorite part about I love it because Sean Evans is not that big of a guy, but you would think he's the biggest player in the league the way he goes after everybody. But like he snuck through Calgary and he got it. I love watching him. He got Mike Messenger so pissed off in that game against Saskatchewan.
yeah,
And that it just like it was amazing. You could see like he did what Mike Messenger does to everybody else to Mike Messenger. It was great. He was in his head and he had him all pissed off.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love.
Sean's mouth does not stop.
No,
It like I know him a little bit, and I played against him a few times, and we were losing by 15 to him, or he's losing 15 to us, or whatever.
doesn't matter.
His mouth is, it don't matter. His mouth is still running, and he's talking shit the whole time. But that's the fire inside of him that he loves this game so much that he don't want to lose, and that's how he is. He is the epitome of a rabid pit bull coming at you 24/7, and you can't shake him. And he gets on everybody's skin. It doesn't matter if you're his best friend or you're his own brother. He gets underneath your skin because that's his competitive nature. He wants to win, and
Yeah,
that's the best thing for Vancouver. That's probably why they got him, because they needed that huge spark, and that's what he's doing for them.
yeah. You needed the guy that's out there playing with pride. That's yeah. He's one of those guys. Like I said, even like last year, he ended up on Halifax for a little bit, and Halifax is such an emotional team. Their whole team plays like that, all the time.
Yeah,
Anyways, it wasn't as I don't know. You didn't notice the difference as much as he needed to be more of the goal scorer as far as
yeah,
like he is just so useful for that team. Just that I talk about it with Owen a lot with Jesse King leading by example. Like King goes out, runs in to a brick wall, gets it's a buddy pass almost
yeah.
from the goalie, but he still then pops up and scores. Like, that's what leaders do. They're tenacious, they get in there, they get after it and
Yeah, let's go. That's what they do. That's the difference between a leader and another guy would have got the hit, laid there like, oh, he got hit. I'm so no, he got hit, kept running, goes, oh, went down and scored, and then
Never even
you
lost the
reap the
ball.
rewards.
Yeah.
No, you get laid up, you scored a goal, and he's sitting there going like this, like, yeah, I scored, And you see everybody come running right to him. He didn't take one step. He stood there, and everybody came to him, and that's what you want. That's why he's the captain of that team too. So
Yeah. And
I
I tell you,
mean,
the
that, that, that
Courier brothers playing for that team now.
uh,
The 77, I can never remember which one's which, but 77 is
Zach and Josh.
the
Zach
defenseman.
is 77.
And wow, he the transition and like just to see when he knows like to shoot and when he knows to pull out to pass and wait for the offense and just the lacrosse IQ that he has
It's through
been,
the roof.
yeah, it's
Through
crazy.
the roof.
You see it, he just soaks up loose balls like everywhere, gets the important ones, flies up the floor. Him and Del Bianco have really sank up. Like Simpson, yeah, that whole transition, and I think that's what sets Calgary apart in the West, and that's why I really think they're going to take it. They're more consistent than Saskatchewan is, um, and they're tough, man. They are. It's a
Yeah.
gritty game. You're not just gonna walk in to their D and shoot either. They soak
Oh
shots. They
no.
beat people up.
Yeah.
They're
So Zach Curry, I think, will probably be transition player of the year. I mean, from what I watched, I don't see anybody coming close to him because he is that key player. Then his brother Josh, same thing. Like,
yeah.
who do you guard? What do you do? I mean, when they're both on the floor, it's
That's one of the big things. So like the
yeah.
way they transition is like essentially Calgary always has a D guy on the floor that plays offense
Mm-hmm.
and is ready and swaps out. And that is
Yep.
such a huge part. They end up with so many odd man breaks because of the way they run that transition. Like you said, there's always two coming up. And if Del Bianco hits the far guy, the near guy just picks off to the bench or half the time will stay on, and sometimes Del Bianco will throw it over the top, and they're already running in, and that it's such a
Yeah.
thing because you can see towards the end of the games the offenses for the other team. As soon as the shot gets anywhere near Del Bianco, if they don't think it's going in, they just start clearing. And they
Yep.
pick up so many extra loose balls, and that's where you really see like these teams that are like Buffalo that are really good at these 1 or 2 goal games. It's the confidence in knowing, they don't have to abandon the play. It's staying on the ball, being able to have the confidence to know that your guys got you.
Yeah. That's like I said with Calgary. They Del Bianco has two options. First of all, send the ball down, and that puts pressure on the other team's offense. It's like either they're off, and no offense guy stays on. They take right off to the bench. Very seldom you'll see any offense guy try to like stop the break.
Yeah.
But when they do that, it ends up being it turns into a fast break or a slow break, and next thing you know, Calgary's got a 3-on-1, 3-on-2, or 4-on-1. It's just yeah, they they got it right. They they got it right. That's all I can say. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
they
no,
know what they're
Calgary.
doing. I was like,
They were my
yeah,
dark horse team, and now they're starting to become more of a favorite. So I just flipped over to the
yeah,
stats on this. So it looks like Panther City came out quick, had a 2 goal lead,
yeah,
and
they
then
did.
Zeddy Williams gets him on the board. Funny, we were just talking about him, and then Ty Thompson too on the board, and Lee. So yeah, Robinson has been playing pretty good so far for the Mammoth this year. Oh boy, look at all the
Yeah, he
penalties in the
was
first
good.
quarter.
Yeah, there were a lot of penalties in that game.
They each got an unsportsman like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go watch this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
This younger Malcolm, this Will Malcolm, this kid,
Will.
I his brother played for Albany and he was a awesome transition player. Like great getting the ball up the floor. Like you want him as like your sixth option for, to be on offense. He's that guy that can
Yep.
stay on the floor, attack and play defense. He was a lot of fun. He coached one of the kids clinics too. Really nice guy, awesome with the kids. But Callum Crawford, you were just talking about him, and he's on the board.
Yep.
7 shots already. Yeah, I tell you this. But it all comes down to like Mood. He has played phenomenal in a couple of these games.
He has stepped up this year, big time for Panther City. This year.
Yeah,
Well, it started at the end of last year. He started coming into his own with the team. This year he is their backbone of that team. The saves he's made this year, that other games I watched, there's some saves I was like, oh, that's a goal. Next, he makes a stick. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, and then he sends it down. Like their Panther City's transition game is terrible. It is horrible. Their transition game is horrible. They barely get it to the offense. That's why they're losing games. But when the offense does get it, I mean, you got their offense is scoring goals. I mean, you got Malcolm out there, and he can score at will.
Yeah.
And he's just not an outside shooter. He can get it in close. I mean, they're a good team. Panther City is a very well rounded team, except for the transition. Their transition is kind of it's very sad. I'll say that. And I watched a lot. I watched almost all their games this year, and they lose a lot of balls in transition.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely and that's what I think is going to prevent them from making it out of the West. But Dylan Ward,
Yes.
18 saves. He's playing good. At least appears
Yeah.
to be, according to the stat sheet. We don't know what the shots were, but
Dylan Ward, I don't know. He should be playing out of. I don't know. I think he's. I don't. Something's wrong with his head, Dylan Ward. Like he's off and on this year too. He's almost like he's in the same category with Dougie Jameson and Warren Hill this
yeah,
year.
yeah, it's just a
He,
very
he is. He's not consistent. Like last year, out of his mind. A couple years ago, out of his mind. Like I mean, even playing in Senior A with Six Nation Chiefs, where that's where he plays in the summer. He plays out of his mind. But I mean, this year he's just like it's like there's something bothering him or something. Maybe he don't want to be in Colorado no more, or I don't know. Maybe he don't like his defense. Dylan Ward just I don't know. I seen him play way better than he is this year, but I mean he's still playing good.
yeah. No, he is. He's just not playing, like he did at the end of last year and into the championship there. And that's kind of what you need is but if he turns it on, he has the ability, and it's not
He
about how
does,
well we start the year, it's about how well
yeah.
you finish it.
But he also plays field lacrosse for the PLL, so maybe he might be burned out a little bit. We don't know. Like I said, he
Yes.
plays for the Water Dogs.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the it's a long year. I mean, especially this box lacrosse just beats the crap out of you.
Especially for your goalie. I mean, who wants to face? I mean, he's easily got over 1,000,000 shots on him in a calendar year.
Oh yeah.
You got to get worn out. I mean, I don't even shoot 1,000,000 times a year, and I'm worn out after 10 shots. You know what I mean? I mean, imagine being a goalie saving him. You know,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's got to be worn. I mean, he plays PLL. Then when the that one year when the Wild Dogs lost, he went right up playing Senior A. So I mean, he don't stop. So he's got to be burned out a little bit. I mean, maybe he should take a couple games off and rejuvenate himself, do something, go to a Colorado Spring or I don't know.
Maybe go snowboarding or something over there.
Yeah, do something. Go to Vail for a weekend.
Yeah. Oh
But
man.
yeah, I mean, Dylan Ward is Dylan Ward. He's a great goalie. He has been forever. Even though he's from Orangeville,
The
he's a good goalie.
I have actually that Orangeville. So I don't know anything about Orangeville other than they seem to have this huge abundance of lacrosse goalies. Who runs their youth
Well,
program up there?
Nick Rose was actually the GM for the Junior A and Junior B team last year, but then he resigned. Then Andrew Suter, I think, took over for a minute, but now he's a coach. The Sandersons run it
That's what
big time.
the Sandersons, as I've heard. They run all the goalies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have heard so many names come out of that Orangeville since I've been diving into this and doing interviews with people. Yeah, that's all the goalies for whatever reason I hear come
Yeah.
out of there.
Well, that's where Hartley's from.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. So that's actually, you know who it was? I think it was Scott Godfrey, the crossing barriers guy. So I think
Okay.
he was a goalie, and I think he told me. So you've got Hartley, Ward, I think Del Bianco, um,
Yep.
Rose was a part of that.
Rose.
Who was it? There was one. There's another
Oh.
one too. Might
I
be
try not to keep up with with them. But
It might be the Orleman brothers might be from there. I think there's one or two more, and the Orlemans are playing for New York now. But yeah, it's just an insane spot where goalies are coming from.
Orangeville, I hate to say this, and you can oh shit, we're live.
I can't edit it out. I've heard
You can't
they.
edit it. Orangeville they do have great players come out for where Orangeville is located in Ontario. They do have great goalies come out of there. They got great players. That's a very well organized. The Sandersons, they're very good. Like one of my real good buddies was Chris Sanderson. He was a goalie. He passed away a couple years ago. Great guy. Like I love that guy. I met him playing junior A. Then with the Oakland Nationals, he was the Team Canada goalie, and a couple times in Australia, I was with him. He was a great guy, great goalie. He played for Rochester. He was all over. They do. They produce very very talented lacrosse players and top of the marquee goalies.
Yeah. Yeah, see,
But
goalies seem to be
but
the
it's also Orangeville.
yeah. Well, maybe that's what it is it's just whatever's going on in Orangeville, there's nothing better than to try to jump in front of some rubber balls.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, there's a lot of kids that come out of Orangeville,
Yeah.
and I can't complain as much this year because there's a lot of native kids that got drafted to Orangeville this year. Jameson Butkus, Marquise Colton, Amos Whitcomb's going to Orangeville. He just got traded to Orangeville from Oakville. Um, there's there's a Horn that plays there, another McCumber that plays there. So Orangeville stepped up on. Back in the days, Orangeville hated the natives. They didn't really like them. They never wanted us to play there. Like nothing. But all of a sudden this year, last year, they want all the natives to play there. But they want to win, and they got a good goalie right now. I think he's like 19. Their goalie. I can't remember his name, but he was kind of the reason they went deep into junior A playoffs this year because of their goalie. He's young. Like they're good. Orangeville is a very great program. I will say that. I can't hate on them as much as I want to, but it's a great program. You would be a fool not to go to Orangeville and play lacrosse there because their alumni is great. The support there is great. Other than that, though, but I mean, F Orangeville, but it's a great place to play lacrosse if you can go there.
Oh yeah. Holy shit, we've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes. I just realized about.
Lacrosse is awesome.
It is, and we covered most of it. So your game of the week, I'm going to be watching the Albany Georgia game definitely. But who are you picking
My
for the
game
game?
of the week, it's I'm gonna go Rochester and Riptide.
Yeah. Hey, conveniently
think-
they both lined up on the screen together too.
Yep, it does on mine too. But I think Rochester's gonna win by 2. I think it's gonna be 15-13.
Yeah, I think Rochester is going to win that game. I hope you're right, and I hope Albany wins our game. But I think Georgia's got to get one, and I just see us happen to be that one.
Come on, show some heart. So with Albany and Georgia, Albany winning 13-10.
Yeah,
Albany.
I think you're right. I think if Albany can score double digits, but and I think Albany's defense is good enough to shut it down. I think it all just depends on how well Dougie's playing, and it's been hit or miss. I still love the guy,
So
huge fan.
Dougie's still better than both Georgia's goalies.
That's true. Even bad Dougie is still better than most of the. And I just got spoiled after watching him play for the. He is wow. When he's on, he's on.
Exactly what it is. He's
There
a great
was
goalie.
Something
he just
though
needs to be
going
on.
through his head. He went chasing a ball behind the net last game. Very on Dougie. Like he is definitely he lost a lot of weight and he got active. Maybe we need to fatten him back up.
Maybe his woman left him. We don't know.
I hope that's not the case. We really don't want to fatten you up, Dougie. If you ever watch this, we'd love to have you come on BS and talk to us one of these days. But oh my goodness. All right, well let's say goodbye for now then, because we're gonna hit an hour and 15 minutes here in about 30 seconds.
Everybody love lacrosse.
Yes, absolutely love lacrosse.
Yeah,
Stay tuned this Sunday. We will be live from Delaware. I got to tell you something afterwards. I just remembered. You will not be down in
I want.
Delaware.
Nope, I'm kind of. I wanted to because I'm actually like my stick I got is on. I would have lit it up this weekend, but I can't. I couldn't make it this weekend due to medical reasons that are kind of cleared up finally now. So I was more focusing on my health. So that's why I didn't go this weekend. And I told Bank City that I couldn't be there. I told Kiefer, and he's
It's
like,
okay. Kiefer will
"Nope."
have another post for you that you've retired, unretired, retired, unretired.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I gotta. I had to work. I had to on all the years of my life playing lacrosse. So I mean, as much as I'd love to go down and play this weekend in Delaware, I need this weekend for myself. And I've been playing lacrosse for fucking 40 years now. So
Bound to miss a couple.
yeah, it's the first time I miss. This is the first time I actually backed out of a tournament and had to say like I can't make it. Usually I'm there. It stung me a little bit that I couldn't make it, and it still is. It will. I'll stick in the back of my head that I could have been down there doing this and that and lighting up goals, but um, it is what it is. So
Yeah.
I wish nothing. I told Kiefer, I was like, "You guys better win, or I'll
Hope.
beat everybody up on the team."
Yeah. Hopefully you'll be able to watch him on Sunday when I go down there to stream the game.
Oh, I'll watch. Don't worry.
Hopefully they make it. They got to make it through to